Okay, thanks again for staying with us on the show this morning on ITV. Lovely Thursday morning. Of course, our major talking point on the show is to look at the ongoing conversations on the state of roads in Edo State. Recently, recall that residents on the Kenwa-Ewotubu axis were on a protest to call on the state government to come to their aid, and their cases are bound in that direction. But I know that the governor of Edo State got the pseudonym We Can See on account of the fact that roads were given adequate attention, up to the point that you can literally pass through a particular road today, maybe this evening, and by tomorrow morning when you go through that road, you see a different thing entirely. But we want to engage that issue against the background of what is coming to the public space. Let me welcome our panelist. Christopher Ojekere is a senior special assistant to the state governor. Thank you for joining us, Chris.
Good morning.
We also have with us in the studio Collins Amadi Osara. Collins is a member of the APC in Edo State. Thank you for joining us.
Duke, good morning.
We have with us Fares Okbere, who is a member of the PDP in Edo State. Fares, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're trying to establish contact with Idris Zakari, who will be joining us via Zoom. As soon as that is established, we'll get him on board to join the conversation. But we'll get the show started right away. Let me get started with Christopher Ojekere. Why is this seeming feeling that adequate attention is not being given to roads as it used to be? I've heard people say, well, most governors, what they do, first tenure, they give so much, they do so much, they achieve so much. And second tenure, it's time to recoup. You don't see much of that. Is that the case of Edo State?
Well, people say a lot of things. What we, responsible society, deal with is, data available to us and facts and statistics. You can understand if somebody were to travel from Auchi to Benin, for instance, after the frustration that you would have experienced in Ekpoma and in several other places, on your way to Benin, not to mention Abuja, and you're an average citizen, your anger is already boiled up to a boiling point. So whatever you meet in Benin, you are going to visit your anger on the governor of the state. It will not occur to you that the road you had traveled that had boiled up your anger was the total negligence of our federal roads. Now, people must understand that these things have to be looked at holistically, because it is the activities that are left, undone by the federal government that eventually reflect on the state, from the fiscal allocation down to whatever happens in the state. But within the state, we must give it to Obaseki. The government's budget for this year is about 214 billion, naira.
Total budget?
Yes, total budget for the year. And the governor's, capital expenditure is about 118 billion. Now, if you go and do a breakdown of that budget, road and bridges got a very huge portion of it. That's 30 billion. Now, what you begin to look at when you're analyzing the government's policy, or you're analyzing the government, is to begin to look at the policy of government and the responsibility the government is showing towards attending to issues that affect the daily lives of the individuals. So you have a government that has a budget plan, and 30 billion is devoted to road and bridges. Now, if you look at Benin City alone, go and look at the statistics all over Africa. It is the most lit city, almost in the whole of Africa, with so many roads and byroads, highways and byroads. So that if a government decides to spend 4 years using all its budgets, even if the budget were to be 14 billion, that is this year's, to repair all the roads in Benin City, you still not be through. And that is why you find that in some places where work does not seem to have gone as fast as everybody would have loved it, you find the people protesting there. But I also wish that they would be protesting where the government has done so many roads. They will be protesting where the government has been able to create passages and links, within the city. And a huge lot of roads across the state, which I can give you the statistics when the time comes. Okay. So the point is that, as you said, it's a feeling more than a statistics. And when people say, as it used to be, I don't know of any time in Edo State where we have not always had this hue and cry about roads. And that's because of the problem I've just said, that you have so many roads alone in Benin City, not talk of Edo North and in Edo Central. So the government in Edo State, since inception, have shown so much commitment to building roads. Now, I can begin to give you some just offhand before I go into my statistics. Now, you have roads like, I live around Aduwawa area. And I remember when I first came to Benin from Abuja after a long time, Lucky Way was a death trap. You either lost, I've said this thing severally on TV, when you're passing it, you either lose your handbag, you lose your wristwatch, you lose your handset, or as I usually say, the light time, you lose your wife if you're with your wife because of the delugge. Now, Lucky Way is passable, it's connecting communities. If you are coming from the community of, say, Ute, and you want to access the Ipoba Hill Market, you have Lucky Way to use. Now, if you go to the Uri area, connecting Sapler Road to Airport Road, opening up communities to that area, you have roads to use. You have second ways, you have TV roads to use. You have Textile Mill Road to use. And there are many other journey roads, Levy Street, and so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah, but whatever you do inside Benin City, as I'm saying, and elsewhere in the Edo South, the roads are just too many for any government.
Let me proceed, Chris. I'd like to get your perspectives. I mean, the present administration has been scored or rated highly for infrastructural development. What's your perspective on the state of affairs on these infrastructures, particularly roads, as it were?
For those who rated the governor or the government of Edo State, I do not know what was the reason for the rating high, as earlier said, when it comes to road infrastructure. Because for me and for many Edolites, you will understand that this administration took us far, far behind, as if we were still in a stone age. Why have I said that? Since the administration came on board, some persons or some individual thought we were going to have a refined and a new system of even road infrastructure, as promised by the governor when he was coming. And now when we talk about it, he has done road. And even in the first time, I was one of those who said the governor wasn't working, because over the time, people like me had agitated. He should please call for town hall meeting, apparently, then publish the road he's doing, then the one NDDC are doing, the one Dosopadek are doing. Because many of those are joining that were acclaimed to him were NDDC and Dosopadek jobs, in which even when they place their signpost on the job doing at night, some officials that are more powerful goes there and sees it and remove them. In some cases, some of these agencies were even warned. Now let me tell you, because we shouldn't begin to have feelings from reality. Like they talked about the Iliri houses. Iliri houses job was started by NDDC. NDDC, I hope they prove me right or wrong, because there are proofs even by NDDC. Let's see their budget. Their physical body spread when like Saturday we were there. So we knew some things that, they brought out as projects they were embarking on or they were doing. So it got to a time the state government felt, oh, this was a project that was almost beautiful, that they had to adjust. So they came in and forcefully adjusted from the other end and said it was state project. So that was on one hand. So there are lots like, it talked about Textile Mill Road. In this modern age, what happened in Textile Mill Road was patching of some parts of the road between the police station via the spy pass before the Medford Junction, because Adams have started this holistic job on the road straight down to Channel from Siloko Road houses. All these roads were already mapped out and they were already going. But at the time before the administration elapses, there was some area that wasn't done or that was not completed. Owing to the fact that it was not completed, there were kind of dishes that came as a result of that. So what the government did was to fill those potholes and pour the normal quota, as we were saying, we can see. How can you want to build a road and we wake up and see the next day, we didn't see road today, the next morning we wake up, we are seeing roads. Are those sustainable roads? No, those are not the kind of things we want. We know where government used to work, that you see steady instruments that contractors used to work. They dig in and dig in and dig into how many feet? Then they start refilling and refilling and refilling. Then they start molding and molding and molding. They pound, they water, they allow vehicle to pass through for almost 2-3 weeks in order for it to be well seated. Then before they begin to asphalt. But what you see, you wake up, somebody just pour, like, you know the way NDDC jobs always look shitty. And that's why you see that most of those patchy road they did are almost all bad because they were NDDC job, they were not state government job. So we are waiting to see the state government truly published, and this Edosopadek, NDDC also published when was the road, then let's do comparison. The government should come for a town hall meeting. Okay. And I think on scoring the governor on road infrastructure is quite unfortunate that we have not had a model or a near model road in his administration. All right, and I score him 15/100.
Okay. Fares, what's your score? What's your score? Go ahead, Fares, talk to us. Yeah.
Well, I don't think we should be personal scores here, but let's take this conversation to a very serious
level.
First and foremost, there's no government that can address all the issues of roads in 8 years. It's not possible.
But has something been done?
Yes.
Has something substantially been done?
I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
And I think that we can do more. I sincerely think that the government can do more. And with respect to the Ekema Road and all of it, but I also understand the challenges of government as well. Just now, the people that left here were talking about the challenges of foreign exchange and how it affects the baking industry. It's also the same with the construction industry. 6 years ago or 7 years ago, when I was building the house, I bought 100 bags of cement for 100,000 naira. Now 100 bags of cement is 450,000 naira. You can see the difference. It's the same in the construction industry. You award a road today for maybe 5 billion, and then between the span of the construction of that road, the cost of materials will go up, everything will change. Most times you have to go back and review and do all of that. It's not also easy for government, if you look at it, because government has a budget for these things. Let's take, for example, the federal government road, the Benin Saple road. Just recently, I was speaking with the contractor handling that road, and he was telling me, you see, the challenges they are having is that the cost of diesel. When they took this job, diesel was 400. Now diesel is 850. And most of their equipment run on diesel. So they are stuck. They have to go back now to the government to review this contract and see how they can forge ahead. But then, the slow process of negotiation and all these things with government, it takes time. And then he said that's where they are, that's where they stopped working, in that Saple Road project, for example. Okay. Because when they started the job, diesel was 400. Now diesel is 850 naira.
Who is going to bear the difference?
And they have to go back to the federal government and say, okay, look at it. And they are still in the process of negotiating or reviewing the contract. And all these things happen both at the federal level and the state level. So there are so many factors that causes all of these issues. And I just made one example, which is the fact that the inflation in the country, which has nothing to do with the state governments, it's really bearing on the construction industry, not just only for roads. If you go to people who are building in the normal building industry, you see that there's a decline, a sharp decline. People are not building the way they were building maybe 10 years ago. Okay. So all of this is affecting the whole thing. So let's not over-politicize. I also think that the government should be more proactive in respect of areas where we know that the roads are terribly bad. Maybe we can kind of do some kind of
palliatives
to eliminate the problem.
Okay, let me see if I can establish contact with Idris. Idris, thank you for joining us on the show. We're having a bit of
Thank you so much for having me.
we're having a bit of a technical challenge, but we can just go with the conversation. At least we'll hear you loud and clear. Yes, talk to us. What are your perspectives on efforts being made to change the scope and the landscape in Edo State as it relates to infrastructural development, particularly roads? Yeah.
You see, some of us have been complaining for a long time, and at a point, some persons thought that we were playing politics with infrastructure. The momentum with which roads were delivered in Edo State from 2009 to 2011, 2012, then up until 2016. If you look at what is happening now, you see that momentum has completely been lost. In fact, we are in the reverse gear. Now, if it rains, people no longer are able to leave their houses. Now, it's easy to come here and manufacture excuses for the administration in Edo State, for the Edo State government led by Governor Obaseki. But you have to take a cursory look at other states who are at par or even lower than Edo State in terms of budgetary allocation. I give you a good example. Look at Ebonyi State. Ebonyi State in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Ebonyi State is not only the poorest state in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Ebonyi State is one of the poorest, if not the poorest, state in the whole of Nigeria. Go to Ebonyi State and see the quality of roads, and see the quality of flyovers, see the quality of bridges, roads built with walkways, with street lights, roads that you can walk in the night, roads that have night lights in the capital of Ebonyi State, which is Abakaliki. And it's not just in the capital. When you go around the interiors, you go to Akiko, you will see government presence in the nook and crannies of Ebonyi State. But when you come to Edo State, the reverse is the case. Look, there's this saying, when you want to do something, you find a way. If you don't want to do something, you look for an excuse. The Edo State government has been manufacturing excuses to blind Edo people, to continuously deceive Edo people that they cannot build roads, whereas they are building roads elsewhere. This same exchange rate you are talking about is also affecting River State. River State for the last 4 years has built 12 flyovers. 12. This same exchange rate is affecting Kano State. Kano State has built 8 flyovers in 8 years, and they are building one mega flyover that has 3 layers. It has first layer, second layer, and third layer for 10 billion built by the Ganduje administration. You can go on and on. As I am talking to you, I am here in Lagos. Roads are going on every day. You know why I didn't mention Lagos and Kano? To tell you that Lagos and Kano are richer than Lagos. But what of Ebonyi? What of Ekiti? What of other smaller things? Even Osun that the governor lost the election because of hunger and that. Go and check the quality of infrastructure. They are building there. It's just quiet. Nothing is going on. The little patch road they are doing, like a coastal road that is already falling apart now, is done by Superdeck. Some others are done by DVC. The government makes promises cannot fulfill. Just last week, they promised that it's going to reduce. T1 roads in Edo. I have some of the records of those roads. Nothing has been done. And we are talking about this. Go to Auchi. Nothing has happened in the last 8 years. In Edo State, Auchi, the biggest city in Edo State. Auchi, suppose says good, but Auchi there, or let's say one of the most biggest, the top 3. But no single project has happened in Auchi in the last 6 to 7 years. Go and check. The records are there. Go elsewhere. Go to Ekoma. Ekoma, people are crying now. They have poles on the road. The last time I saw the donuts, they put poles because the big federal road is no longer working. Trucks are now using small inner roads and they were destroying it. So they put poles. So there are no roads in those states. I don't see why we are making excuses for the government.
Okay.
You should sit here, whether you are for the governor or against the governor, you should tell him the truth that Mr. Governor, there is room for improvement. Nothing is happening as of today. Somebody mentioned the TV road. When it's rich, you cannot drive this TV road. It's not working. It's a failed road. Whether you take it
completely.
When it's rich, you cannot pass it past of the wall. Even that was just to deceive the gutter. So the governor has to sit up. All these tiny roads they are asphalting, they are using it. what I call cosmetic approach to road construction. They use cream and soap to run road so that it looks fine and they mark it and it looks like it. That's not how to do road. All those cosmetic roads in GRA don't have a gutter. That's not how, that's not the quality we are
Okay, Idris, let me pause you for a moment so that I can get Chris to make more input into this conversation. Chris, you were going to give us statistics.
Yes, in a lighter mood, you would think that the governor was elected only to repair roads. I'm happy with the way Idris started, and I want to respond to that, because I realize that when people are arguing, sometimes it is lack of the understanding of strategies and perspective of the government in power. Okay. If we start with the momentum for roads that he said, with which we saw roads, between 2011 and 2015, then it would have meant that we shouldn't be complaining right now that there are no roads in Benin City. Let me finish. Okay. It should have meant that all the roads that would have needed to be taken care of were taken care of. But we are mentioning almost all the roads. So where did the momentum? Where's the sustainability for the momentum? Then number two, let me tell you, the momentum with which we faced roads was the same momentum with which we abandoned education. Now, we left technical schools dead. We left State School of Nursing dead. We left the State Research Polytechnic dead. We left ECOMA in total comatose. Now, we left Igoraki dead. We left College of Education Abuja dead. We left College of Education Afuze dead. Now, activities. So, a government's focus is what we are looking at. We are talking of a Bonny state. They are all rice farmers. What is the index for the capacity building? Go to our civil service and see the reform that is going on there. It's costing money. I'm happy you mentioned the same employee, and browsing, just sent people that come out and study those civil service reforms. So it is not flyovers. Flyovers does not contribute to job creation for the citizens. Flyovers in a small state, having 9 flyovers in a small state, where are they going? Those are capital projects which governors make money to their pockets. Why are you doing 9 flyovers in one state? So the point is, what are your priorities? If you are thinking of human development, if you are thinking of building citizens for first generation, we are talking of Edo Park. We are building citizens that we are going to give trainings and education. And then we are referring to building roads. So if that momentum was indeed not a phantom, and I can assure you that that momentum did not reach on one, the 201, I want you to cite one road that was done in 201 from one, because by that momentum, one major road that was done. So the momentum might have been concentrated around Auchi, as we had mentioned, or around Izare, as we had mentioned, but certainly not in Owa, and certainly not in all these places that we are mentioning now. That is why we are not seeing the roads, and that's why we have the problem still. The point is that we have to face the reality. As we said earlier, you cannot, even if you spend 214 billion for 8 years, you cannot satisfy everybody, because you are not just dealing with roads, you are dealing with erosional activities, much of which factors, human factors. Now, go to the roads that have been built with these same momentums. What is happening to the drainages? Women are trading. The other day enough of a woman had finished, she waits for the rain, and somebody had to video it, and now she's facing the music. She will wait for the rain and then empty her dustbin in the gutter. And then it will block the road. Now he spoke about Lagos Road and Sapele Road, broken down, and he was talking about the review. Now he said because of that, people coming from Abuja have to use the villages. And the federal government is destroying the state road. But we are blaming the Edo State government for it. We are not blaming the APC government who have left the major roads, impassable, and have put our village roads under unnecessary pressure. So the point is, when we look at it holistically, the governor, and I can give you statistics. I said I have statistics to give you, and these are statistics that are verifiable. The young man here was talking about they want to find out, they have not found out. You have to find out. I find out things before I come here. Now look at statistics here. Over 600 roads have been constructed by this administration, and the stretch is 4,000 kilometers. I will give you the names of the roads. I'm not giving you phantom statistics. I'm giving you the names of the road. About Agbon, Ogege Road is one of the roads. Ugbo, Amagba Road is one of the roads. I'm coming from Edo South so that you can verify that. St. Saviour is one of the roads. Bini Abaka Road is ongoing. It's one of the roads. Bini Gobazua Agbese Road is one of the roads. It's ongoing. Now you go to Edo North, Awai Agbede Road, Afokbila, Ogiriga Road with Awoyabi Sports. I speak I try not Awoyabi. Then you have rehabilitation of the secretariat road at Igara. It's ongoing. Then you have the Imeka Township roads. You have Bank Road Agenibode, among several others. Then you go to Edo Central, where Fares is from. The old Agbo road in Ibegu is ongoing. Ekpoma Ugaja road is ongoing. Agbo 90 Ilushi Ewokili Okaigbe road is ongoing. Opoji Ibegu road is ongoing. Akia roundabout and Erewele Street. Then you have Egbarerua roads. So it's not, these are things I'm putting it in Edo State.
Okay.
Now the point is this, you can't have that budget. It's not the federal government. The failure of the federal government roads, failure of the federal government to provide ways have put pressure on these little roads, and then they've been setting kind of negative boom. People driving cars who don't know their means. Pressure have been on the road. So people are beginning to talk more about it. But to say that the government is not doing it and they were manufacturing, excuses from the government, it's not true.
I hope Fares is, I said Fares, Idris is listening. Idris, we'll get you back on. Okay, yeah, we'll get you back on it more. But let me get you to take this conversation higher in terms of he gave statistics, not just statistics, verifiable names of roads and streets that has been constructed or ongoing projects to back up the fact that Edo State government is making impact. So what are your misgivings about this?
Now, thank you very much. He mentioned Ugbo Road. I live not too far from Ugbo in GRA. Now I am asking, is it first Ugbo or second Ugbo? Second Ugbo was built. A part of it was built by Matthew Iduekeme when he was in NDDC. Between the end of BIU up to his junction. Then from there towards Naomi's Garden, the end of Namikan before Uli Ground, Adam Saliu administration finished it. That is second Ugbo. Then you go to first Ugbo. First Ugbo has never been touched for over the years till tomorrow, and that road is unpassable. Now, I don't know where he's calling it, but maybe it's another one, maybe generated in another quarter.
Ugbo Amagba Road. I have passed there myself.
I want to come to Amagba Road now. Now, Amagba Road started from DVD oil. That is where Amagba Road started from, which ought to cross about 5-6 communities.
Yes.
Unfortunately, no. NDDC started that project. In short, they were at a stage, they have just started their gravitating water view when the state government came after they had issue with Keke Napep. I am coming now. When they had issue with Keke Napep, revenue matter there and a block problem.
Okay.
Those ones were saying they don't have the road. They now said, state government now said they want to complete or they want to start the road, and they started. Now the road is talking about now. 2 Keke cannot even stand in between. We are not talking about
I
am coming.
Has the road been constructed?
The road was done to an extent, not a road that fits a state government.
To what extent was it done?
Now, let me tell you. A road that is not up to 40 kilometers of road per se. Or now you look at the wide stage of the road. I'm telling you now, if you are going through Ugbo Road to Amagba, one must wait for another. If you say state government is handling a job, let's say you are picking it up from a local government, you want to now handle it, the road should be dualized and made well passable. Not the same road. If you cannot tell me by 6 o'clock you want to go to Amagba, you will have an hectic time going through that road. Because we move around. Now, he talked about a roundabout. You know, on fire blood, the way he was talking about, where roundabout in so place, roundabout, that means there are potholes around roundabouts. Because they didn't tell us they are constructing a roundabout. Now, how can you say those are jobs that are being done? If jobs are being done, are you telling me that we won't see it? Let the factual. Everywhere, even the same Ugbo Road is talking about, go to Boundary Road, you cannot even pass Boundary Road, which is almost the city center to the area command. Let it just rain. For the whole of that day, your vehicle will go, in short, the water will pass almost half of your vehicle. That is city center. Go to Iyama, by the legislative quarter. Till today, they can't even do anything there. Is it Agboba Simi? We are just talking about GRA as is. So even if the GRA is as worst, because that was what was happening. One of their party leaders from another state said, tell us what you are doing in your state. Because sometimes our leaders should be challenged. It's not just coming to defend them. So I hope and I pray that the government will not be listening to what his advisors sometimes say just to applaud him, but he should wake up so that there will be a sustainable name by his, either by infrastructure or by legacies he will leave. Because when you leave government, that is when you will know if those
legacies or not
have done well for you.
Let's get your take on some of these rules that we're talking about. Yeah.
You see, it's kind of surprising when people come on air and just reel out sheer ignorance.
No, you just say your own because you also share ignorance. You don't talk you know too much. You will give your own point. Don't dismiss anybody.
Collins,
nobody's sharing ignorance here. You say the one you know.
Collins, it's okay.
Please don't repeat it again.
About the Ugbo-Amagba Road. The Ugbo-Amagba Road that was constructed started from close to the BIU junction, which is around the Izayamu's house.
Okay.
That's by DVD now.
The roads all the way down to Izayamu's street, those streets were constructed, up to DVD oil, then down to the Iriri Road. It connected Iriri Road on one side,
yes,
and it connected to Obage on the other side. And it's connected to Ogunweyi on another side. You know, because I live in Amagba, and I ride my bicycle every day, every evening I ride my bicycle from the Ubo Road to Obage, down to Iriri, through Okoromi, back to Ogunweyi and back to Amagba. This is over 30 kilometers of road, because the Iriri Road to Sapele Road is 21 kilometers, 21.something kilometers. Then not even the Ugbo-Amagba Road, that is 9 kilometers. Then the one between Ogunweyi and Ugbo, that one you can see the drainage that was done there and all of that. So if we want to criticize government, let's try to be factual. Let's try to have some facts. Don't just bring out information. Look at, go to GRO. The GRO is talking about. In the section of GRO, there has never been any drainage to address the issue of flooding in GRO. The first time any government attempted to do something about the drainage situation in GRO is this administration.
That's true.
And if you go to Upper Adesuwa, you see that Upper Adesuwa has not been used for over 15 years. Upper Adesuwa has not been used for over 15 years. Now you see what they are doing in Upper Adesuwa.
Upper Adesuwa specifically where?
Around the Oko Central area.
Okay.
You see the drainage,
the appearance now go to there.
Okay.
Now go to Iridiawa area. You see what they are doing. Go to
which of the area one now? Sapele Road?
Okay. The pits that was done there to address the issue of that place.
Okay.
He knows how that place was left. The last government built the road up to the middle, and then they left it. And then, because they didn't know how to address the issue of the flood, this government came and addressed it. Now go to Ogiso area in Ted after MMW.
Exactly.
Area, and you see all the erosion control that was done in that area.
Also, World Bank, they all started before Adams left government. No, I don't want you to confuse people.
Colleagues, be calm, yeah.
You know, so you see all of those things. You know, so I'm not saying that government has done everything, but government has taken measures to address some of these concerns, some of these problems that we have.
Okay.
And then if you notice, like my brother said, you see, government is not all about building roads. Because if it's not being hypocritical that those of the APC that are speaking here today, they cannot point to one federal road that is working in Nigeria right now. I'm not going to go there, but that's a question for others. But they cannot point to. You cannot travel to Benin from Benin to Auchi now without going through Epoma. You cannot go from Benin to Warri without going through the villages. Okay. You cannot go from Benin to Ondo without going through the villages.
Like you said, 1 minute. 1 minute, yes, please, because
So it's not like a port will not come and be calling Kettle black. Those in the state can even point to look at the roads the government have done in the state. The federal government in 8 years, in almost 8 years, now cannot point to a project and say, okay, this is the project I started in Edo and finished. No federal presence in Edo, and then these people are coming here to rationalize, to make it look like, oh, the state is not doing anything. Whereas many of the roads that came through to this place, they are state roads that were built by this same administration. Look at how those that said Governor Obasanjo's we can see, like you mentioned. Why did they give him we can see? Ring Road, by the time Adam Zuma left, the Ring Road was riddled with potholes. The government was confused at that time. Was confused. They didn't know what to do, so they left it. When Governor Obaseki came, they said, okay, if we close Ring Road during the day, there will be a crisis of movement in the city. So what did they do? They brought in floodlights and they fixed Ring Road at night. When people came to Ring Road, they saw that the same Ring Road that was riddled with potholes a day before
has been fixed.
And that was where the issue of this thing. And now look at it. Let's look at the government budget. We have in 2021.
Faris, I don't want to go into budget because Idris give us insight into what those budgets are. But Idris, let me quickly get your views on some of these rules. Now, we can actually hear and we can verify. I mean, go and verify is one of the hashtags that is trending now. You can actually go and verify some of these projects that are on the ground from these places that have been mentioned by some of our panelists here. Are you saying that these projects are not visible, they are not verifiable, they are not tangible, they are not feelable, they are not touchable?
Well, we came here to talk about rules.
Yes.
Somehow they are delved into education. I didn't want to go to education today because...
No, just answer my question on rules first.
You say they are not...
Yes, answer my...
The projects they are touting. The fantastic thing about media is that you can make a man bigger than himself. So some of the projects they are touting, they are making it bigger than it actually is. How can somebody be saying Iri Road? So, this other one, the one in what they call the those roads in the GRA.
That's Ugbo Amaba Road.
Ugbo Amaba. How can somebody come and vote Ugbo Amaba Road? That the state government is that kind of road. A road that is like an artery in man's vein. 2 cars cannot pass and no truck can pass through that road. That one is nobody should be talking about that. They mentioned education. The Obaseki is not only focusing on roads, he's also doing education. In the last administration, primary schools and secondary schools were built in those under the Red Revolution. And remember here to present, I don't belong to a school, but today, what has Obaseki done for the schools in those states? Ekoma is closed, the $1 has been given to federal government, no state institution is working as we speak. So let us say some of these things. They talked about the Abraka road, that's the federal road. They talk about 600 kilometers of road. Unless those 600 kilometers of road were constructed in space, they were not constructed on ground. Those 600
but maybe because you have been in Lagos for a while, you probably don't know what's happening here.
but he sees the way the flood is.
Nobody has anything to tell me about those things. I have done the most odious job in those things. I have driven cars in those things. I have done car work. There is no look and cranny of those things that I don't know. I'm not saying believe, Edo as a know. So that they came to also let us know here that flyovers are not important. Who is saying such kind of thing? Which modern city of today do not have flyovers and fantastic roads? Even in Borno, where bombs are falling, people are building flyovers. So let's not come here and exaggerate little project, primary school project or local government standard project and use it to try to hype the governor. We are not doing the governor anything by that. Look, let's also stop gaslighting. You see, people want to stop. I'm not a member of it. They are supported APC. But Solid is a member. But everybody has a voice. If somebody would try to compare the state government with the federal government, you can't even compare. As spectacular as the failure of the Buhari administration is, you cannot compare the Buhari administration with the state government in terms of administration when you put comparison.
In Edo State. No, I'm talking about in Edo State. What impact has? Yes.
Let me tell you, there are 36 states in the federation. Here, I have traveled to Ibadan just a few days ago. From Lagos to Ibadan, it's just 2 hours. It's an express road. That's if you want to go by road. You can also go by rail. You want to talk of Lagos City. If you are coming from Lagos now, it's 3 hours to get to Shagamu Taki. What are they talking about? If you are going back to Ibadan, you have so many
Abuja
checkpoints that will delay you unnecessarily.
Okay.
So let us focus on Edo State and discuss Edo State.
All right. So since you said that, Idris, let me pause you there. Yeah.
Edo State government has failed spectacularly.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me pause you there. I don't know how much time we have left, Idris. Yes.
My mother is from Akopela. I am by far from Akopela. My late mother was very popular. Akopela Road to the Abuja Road was built by the administration of an association only. The other strength, they have not done it. They went to promise. I went to the campaign, went for Obaseki, promised to Bella that is going to do one, moving from the Abuja Road junction towards the palace of the king. They have not done it.
Okay.
So what are they talking about?
All right, Idris, thank you, Idris. I just about have the time to come back to you to take your final thoughts before we call it a wrap. Now, gentlemen, before we call it a wrap, is it possible for us to unbundle all of these projects into the core Edo State government projects, the core NDDC project, the core ETSOPADEC project? Is it possible for us to do that? And if we're able to achieve that, can we really then say the government of Edo State has lived up to expectations in terms of road construction without these intervention agencies, as it were?
Now, Edo project is what?
Edo State Oil Producing Area Development.
Edo State Oil Producing
Area.
It's flowing.
Yes, getting it.
People are saying a government agency.
It's formed.
Yes.
From federal government.
Supervised.
Yes.
Supervised by the state government.
Okay.
The state government could be corrupt and plan with the commissioners, and all the money there will go to his pocket.
After all, we've seen that before.
The box stops at his table.
Yeah.
And then when he not gets credit, he said, no, don't give him the credit. Wait for the failures. It's funny. He is supervising that agency, and we've seen what it was used before for. We're talking of sense of responsibility here. That you are given a mandate and you are using all the resources at your disposal. It's not like somebody coming here to tell me that TED Fund was there many years before all the other administrations. Go to the University of Ekpoma now and see what TED Fund, what the state government has used its influence. When the state government say I'm attracting investors, when it doesn't, 30 billion for road, how many years should that do?
TED Fund came from ASU.
Yes.
It was ASU's proposal that gave birth to TED Fund.
That's nationally.
Yes.
But now to draw it for domestic purpose to use in your state, other states were drawing at it, and our government, successive government, were quiet about it. When the state government saw that resources, put its influence to play, and then Ekpoma, that's why that music. So it must be holistic in analysis.
All right, let me get your final take on. Yeah, the ordinary man on the street doesn't care whether it's NDDC, whether it's ETSOPADEC, all they just want to see is better life, better infrastructure. And if we achieve that, whoever is in government, under whose administration or leadership those things are manifesting, we give the person the credit. What's wrong with that?
Nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, if things are going well, if the infrastructures are there, if the people are happy, nobody will complain. You can't even back, even when you try to accuse the government of insensitivity. You can't back it up. Okay. But when the obvious is obvious, then even those who want to shield the governor, or even the government himself, they can't hide away from the truth because the people already have known the truth. It's just quite certain that simple thing, accountability. You know, when people say they are corporate people, that when they come, they will do things different. It becomes very sympathetic that they are even worse than the traditional politicians. Why have I not said that? I expected that every 3 months, we should have an town hall meeting. Because behold, let me tell you, the way there's House of Assembly before now used to have oversight. You see sometimes, no matter how close an House of Assembly member are to governor, even when they are oversight on roads or works, you see them go to the site, calling contractors, you see them do paparazzo, even if it's not from their mouth.
They are still doing that.
Which one?
Look, I'm asking you.
Several people. I don't understand because I've never seen anybody anywhere. So what I'm trying to say is that institutions must be allowed to run.
All right.
When institutions run, things will be better for us.
Let me get a final word.
I want to make one quick example with when you mentioned NDDC. The Sakumba Road, for example, is the St. Saviour Road. The lady that was in charge of NDDC some years ago.
Interimly.
When she came, the governor took her out, and then they said they wanted to go and visit St. Saviour Road. When they got to St. Saviour Road, they had it on paper in NDDC that they awarded St. Saviour Road for 900 billion, and they have completed it.
On paper?
Yeah.
900 billion.
Sorry, 900 million. Sorry.
900 million.
900
That's
million.
approximately a billionaire.
Yes, approximately a billion, 9something million. And it has been completed. It had in paper. She was shocked when she got there. She was shocked. You can go, ITV followed them that you can go to your archives and watch it. She was in shock.
Under whose watch was this? Under whose leadership?
This was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
They came back and they went to Dumes Road. They went to Aloha in Dumes Road. And they were shocked also because on paper, on their records,
NDDC's records.
completed roads. And nothing was done, nothing, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
The same St. Xavier Road was done by the state government. So when you mention, interventionist agencies and all of this, sometimes how
Road without drainage.
Come on now, it's not road without drainage.
No,
But does the road exist in the first place?
See, the road,
Does it exist in the
that road has started existing from 1999. Let me tell you, this is a road issue.
All right. Let me Idris.
Asking them, I said, point one project that when Jonathan.
All right.
16 billion was just afforded to the state government. So federal road maintenance, what have they done with it? You were talking about farm. The state government budgeted for farm settlement. When it just came, the government
Not one project.
Can we be calm, please? Idris, your last take, please. Idris, the signal seems to be breaking. Yeah. Yes. Please go ahead. We're having a real technical hitch there.
Idris, so please.
Idris, we can't get it.
We are not saying one thing to deliver this. Although some of us have lost hope.
Renew your hope, Idris.
Anyways, Idris, this is a technical problem. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the gods. The gods have to be blamed. I don't know. But okay, Idris, can you quickly conclude now? Yes, just go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk. We're not seeing your video. We can hear you. Just go ahead and talk, please.
I am saying that just a few, we got confirmation that 16 billion that the previous administration spent on fixing roads in Edo State federal roads was returned to this administration. I would expect by now we call it town hall meeting, and that money will be discussed on certain key projects that will touch the life of the people. But as usual, this government is a government of secretocracy, government of secret by secret and for the secret. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's our program for today. We have Mr. Ojeki, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. That's our program for today. We'll have a fresh installment tomorrow on Good Morning from Benin. Business Rendezvous is coming up shortly. Bye for now.